Welcome to the Voice of College Football Notre Dame live show. I'm Brendan with my co-host Patrick. Buddy, how you doing today?
Doing pretty good. It's been a fun Tuesday. We got a lot of stuff to talk about based off of the spring practices and the actual spring game coming up this Saturday, correct?
Yeah, this Saturday.
Well,
How's the spring? How's the spring checking in for you in Florida?
it's a lot of rain right now so far, a lot more than we were used to. We had one cold front in mid-February. It got really cold. North Florida got some snow, pretty historic. But outside of that, it's been getting hotter as time has gone on and rainy now.
I leaned back in my chair yesterday and looked out my window. My office is in the basement, and it looked like a snow globe outside. None of it stuck to the ground, but wouldn't be in April in the Midwest if we did not get at least one or 2 days where Mother Nature decided to punch us in the gut with a few more of that white stuff.
That's actually unbelievable. So you had snow this weekend?
Yesterday, like the Tigers played the Yankees, and Comerica's Park looked like a snow globe. I mean, none of it sticks to the ground because once the ground softens up, none of it sticks. But yeah, sure. I mean, it's supposed to snow again on Thursday.
Wow.
I mean, none of it'll stick, but it's temperatures are in the upper 30s, mid 40s, but it'll dip down enough to get enough snow. So yeah, springs.
We're getting to like the afternoon thunderstorm kind of area, so we're not really touching that.
No, yeah, I mean, we still get the rain, and it'll be 70 next week. So, and it was 70 like 2 weeks ago, but yeah, spring in the Midwest is fun. I think the weather's supposed to be okay for the Blue Gold game for those attending. I normally do, but this year I have my daughter's got a soccer game, and we were all set to go, and I didn't buy the tickets because we were waiting for the soccer schedule to drop. Then we find out we got a game we're going to. My son's pretty bummed out, but what can you do? Catch it on the Peacock.
Yeah, it's okay. You have fun regardless. Well, the first thing that we wanted to do before we got into the quarterback battle that has been going on this spring was actually take a look ahead at the schedule, not to pick the games, but instead to pick the best uniforms of the teams that Notre Dame ends up playing in this upcoming season. We wanted to do this snake draft style almost, but we're starting from the worst to first. Am I getting that correct here, what we're doing?
Yeah. I think the best way to do it is we can leave everybody pending to see who's number one. So let's if you want, do you want to start with the worst uniform? Do you want to pick who the worst uniform is, or do you want to pick the second worst? I guess.
I want to pick the second worst because that's almost too much pressure. I'm almost like I feel like I don't know if I could do it.
Yeah, I'll pick the worst. I'll pick the worst uniform. So looking at the schedule, I think that the worst uniform, and it might be mildly controversial, but I think one of the schools that does the least with the history and tradition that they have is I think that there is no uniform in the SEC that is more boring than the Arkansas Razorbacks.
Ooh.
I hate it. I hate their uniform. It's entirely forgettable and uninspiring. I mean, it's okay when the pig's on the shoulders, but most of the time they just have these like stupid garish stripes, and I don't find anything. It's like a, I don't know, Timo version of an Oklahoma jersey.
That's a really good analogy. I actually like that. Arkansas was going to be one of my potential first couple choices there. I like when they wear white. It looks a lot more like sleek, and I think it looks like clean. So I don't know. Some of these are just uninspiring to me, and I think that like Arkansas would definitely be in that category.
Yeah, when they wear the whites, it's okay. I don't love the all whites in humidity, because then it puts these weird sweat stains.
Oh yeah,
and half the players you can end up seeing through to whatever their boxer briefs are or whatever. And I don't know, I don't love it. And they got the 2 pant stripes down there like they're Illinois or whatever. It's just, or Indiana. I just don't like Arkansas. And I could have been funny and picked USC to have USC, but I'm not going to do that. So yeah, I'm putting Arkansas at the bottom spot.
Okay, so you have Arkansas now. I almost want to go another SEC team with Texas A&M, but I've gotten another look at everything, and I'm not going to go controversial. I think Pitt's uniforms, I think they're bold, and I think Syracuse is doing a lot more. I'm going to go with Purdue.
It's not a bad call.
They're all in the same boat for me. Boston College, Navy, and Purdue. And I just feel like Purdue's just looks so 2005 to me. I feel like an update could be used. Their black unis, I think, are really good. Their black uniforms are really good, but I still kind of think to their uniforms without the black. And I'm just like, man, I just don't know if that's any better than some of the others. Now, I might be making the wrong call by putting them ahead of Boston College and Navy. But, Navy's got those alts, man. They got those alternates.
Navy does have the alts that you have to account for.
Yeah, so how can I do that? So they're going to have to at least be ahead of those two.
And
so
I don't
maybe I'm missing on Boston College, but I just don't feel inspired.
I appreciated when I really hated. Purdue probably would have been my last spot back when they put whatever the train track nonsense is on the shoulder pads.
Oh yeah,
absolutely hated that. And they've gone to more of a retro-y look, which is like the two stripe, but it's still just like, I don't know, absolutely forgettable, worthy spot to be at the bottom of the list. I guess if I got to pick one, I like the color scheme significantly more than it previously was back when it was like Navy and where they were almost copying Notre Dame. But I'm going to pick the Pitt Panthers, and my rationale is very simple. They have a beautiful color scheme. I like their throwback uniforms. But the font that they use on their regular uniforms is the ugliest number font in all of college football. I hate that number font so incredibly much. Like the zeros all have, it almost looks. Did you in school used to draw those S's where it would be like the cap on the bottom, and then all of it looks like that. It looks like the binder of a 13-year-old Brendan drawing S's all over it. That's what their numbers look like, and I absolutely hate it. I love the script Pitt. Love the color scheme, but I cannot stand those numbers. And when Tiny Hands used to play for him and he wore that number 8, it just looks so awful.
Well, when I think about when Tiny Hands played for them, it was the fake slide. And I honestly really disagree. I was not thinking, I'm thinking they're at least middle of the pack. I almost feel like I need to rearrange this list from where I was originally going because I need to put some other team there. I think what Boston College did with their alternate uniforms was definitely different, right? They had it was like that. I don't even know how to describe it. It's not like the weird pattern.
The faux mesh.
Is that what it was called?
Yeah, it was like, because Notre Dame did one too, where they did because Kyle Hamilton, I think they were playing BC in that game. They did the faux mesh, and they do the red bandana game where they put the paisley stripe down the center of the helmet. Is that who you're taking for yours?
Yes.
BC?
Okay, that is who I was thinking about taking. And what's holding me back is that alternate uniform that they just finally kind of got creative with. I'm gonna have to probably still side with Boston College just because I can't. I also, if they played Notre Dame and they had it on, I can't let any team here climb up the rankings because they had a game against Notre Dame where they decided to get new jerseys, because it feels like that's a lot of teams, or they're involved in some sort of series against them. So I can't let them go too high. It's in the same vein as why I put why am I forgetting the name of the team that I just put second? Purdue.
Yeah.
I had them at second to last. In the same boat, I'm tossing Boston College. But since we last talked, I was going to lump Navy also in that group. That will not be my next pick. They too many alternates, too many fun stuff. Too many times I think you could potentially say that they have the best uniform all year with our alternate uniform. So I can't do it. I'm not headed that way, but I had to knock those two teams out before they got too far on this list.
Okay, so I'll put NC State on here. What is an NC State football uniform? Right? It's basically like a reskinned Louisville uniform.
Okay.
And
you make a good point with that.
The helmet's kind of fun with the giant wolf, giant cartoon wolf on it, which I like. But I don't like that they essentially are like a reskin of Louisville. And they have like Wolfpack on the side of their pant, and it just or no, it's NC State. Yeah, some of them Wolfpack on the side of their pant. I don't like it. I don't like it. It's not. It's just and plus all of them are solid color schemes, and I don't love solid on solid too.
So reskin of Louisville is actually a really interesting take. I like some of they're very similar. So it's something also
I think they're both Adidas schools, right?
Yeah,
which is why I would imagine they have.
I think NC State does some stuff that I didn't like what Louisville did. Like they stayed away from the chrome helmets, and I wish that NC State would make the wolf a little bit smaller. I think that looks bad. Look, coming from a Florida individual watching football, Tampa Bay Bucks had some of the gnarliest looking uniforms, the worst stuff. Yeah, huge flag. It didn't make any sense. There was no point. Just make it smaller. Like, what are we doing here? That was my feeling towards the helmet, but I really like the color scheme. Solid on solid, yeah. Like I get what you mean with that, but I feel like what they were doing with like the shoulder pads and everything that I'm looking at right now, I think it's pretty good. And then I also think they're one of those teams that can move from white helmet to red helmet pretty seamlessly. And
they have a black one in rotation too.
Yeah. And I don't think you can like throw away too many. So I might have went a little early on it, but I get it though. They definitely look like Louisville. Like, I mean, so I was taking that same path. You know, I'm looking at the rest of this list, and I'm wondering because I hate Boise State's. I hate their helmet. But I like the rest of their uniform, but I'm not going Boise State here. I can't do it just yet. I'm thinking about Syracuse.
Here's my one thing about Syracuse is when they wear the orange pants, blue tops with the shadow box numbers. It's a sick look. I don't like it when it's a pajama party, when it's the orange, when you look like a traffic cone with the orange on orange on orange. But I do like when they wear like the old school Donovan McNabbish, where it's got the blue top with the orange pants. I think that's sharp. But the orange one absolutely belongs in the basement.
That is their best look. And yeah, that orange one does belong in the basement. Maybe it's the lighting too from the dome that's just not flattering. That dome, man, it looks like
that dome is just, it's the worst. And my favorite part about the dome is that it was called the Carrier Dome, right? Mm-hmm. Which is a brand of air conditioners, but it was never an air conditioned stadium.
That's right. Actually, so how does it stay cool?
Well, it doesn't. Oh, which is hilarious, right? They had a stadium named after its namesake was an air conditioning, an HVAC company, and they didn't have any air conditioning inside their dome, which is hilarious. So then it ended up changing to the JMA Wireless Dome, which is a mobile provider, right? Guess what they don't have? Cell phone service.
Oh. Well, then I don't feel bad about
the next one they should call is like Meaningful Wind Stadium, because they don't have those either.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so I got Syracuse right here. I just wanted to also propose something too before giving you your next pick. If they just moved also their white helmet, I think, to the blue on orange, I think this team could look really, really good. I think their white helmet's super underrated. And we're getting into the spot of like where these teams have good uniforms.
Yeah, I think we're sort of the middle.
Not a fan of the orange. So if you have that bad of an alternate uniform, it's going to knock you some points.
All right. So I think for me, the next one would have to be Stanford. And I think that's sort of the bottom of the ones that I just don't generally like. I don't like Stanford's uniforms. They just have always, even when they were good, I always thought that they looked cheap in their uniforms, because the uniform is just, I mean, it's base, right? It's just the cardinal tops white numbers, white helmet, white pants, and it is unchanged. And I guess you could say something for, the tradition of it, right? As it
Mhm.
being unchanged. But like, you're Stanford, you're not Penn State. You're not Alabama. You don't get to do that. You don't get to just have a plain red uniform with white numbers. Like, I think that you have to earn, which you have not. You're Stanford. It just looks cheap on Stanford. While the other ones, it looks like on Penn State, it'll look timeless, right? The white on whites, with no text or anything. Stanford is the same thing. There's this white on white, no text anywhere, just a little logo on the pants. But Stanford hasn't earned that right, and it looks especially chintzy and cheap on them. So I'm putting Stanford down there.
Maybe we let Stanford go a little bit too far here because I think you're right. Like with the lack of creativity and the, appeal to tradition, which it may not have as strong as some of the other teams that don't change their uniform for 100 years. I'm going to go with Texas A&M here at the next spot. I think that they've risen a little bit too high. Their team, in my opinion, they'll roll out a black uniform and they'll roll out a white uniform, and they look pretty good. I'm not a fan of the black uniforms. I think the white ones look really, really good. But the actual uniform itself, uninspiring. I think the maroon color doesn't really do it for me. And then I think the helmet, in all honesty, maybe that is probably their biggest tradition, if you will, the way that helmet looks.
The
But I'm
A,
not,
the T, and the M.
I don't like it. It doesn't look good to me.
No, it,
And
it doesn't. And I think part of the problem too, and a lot of these teams are Adidas teams, is like, I just don't like Adidas's uniforms. Like, the numbers look like stickers. They don't look. It just doesn't look. It doesn't look as sharp as either Under Armour or Nike. Which
also
I
getting a
when Notre
quick,
Dame was an Adidas school, I love their apparel. Like, I like their shirts. I still have a hoodie, an Adidas Notre Dame hoodie. I love. It's got the three stripes on the arms. It's phenomenal. But as far as the uniforms went, I've never liked Adidas as a uniform provider.
yeah.
Yes.
When I look back at some of those uniforms from like the later 2010s to like mid 2010s, I'm like, wow, what are we doing here? Like with the almost like the gradient look or whatever.
Yeah, and they
Like,
had like the weird chest thing that they
oh,
did with like the
yeah,
stripes coming down.
doesn't look good.
Yeah, I just always associate, like, I just always think of Terry and Fulston wearing that, because it was like, there's always the picture of him, sticks out in my mind when I think of that late era of Adidas. Um, all right, so you got Texas A&M,
Mhm.
and then I'll take Boise here. You didn't take Boise before, right? So I'll
No.
I'll jump on Boise here because, once again, it's a pajama party. Too many solid colors. I think you need to have something that breaks it up. It's fine if it's a one-off, like if you want to wear it as like a one-off thing, but when your primary is, and I think their primary is just, they have a blue, they have a white, and then they have an orange alt, and sometimes they'll mix and match, but the primary is blue on blue, white on white, orange on orange, and I don't like that. I don't like it.
I think their issue is the helmet. I
It's the
think,
giant the
yeah.
giant logo on the
But then
side.
it's like almost like a sketch outline of the Bronco, and it's like, does that really do it? It's still blue. Like, it's blue on blue. I don't like that. I don't know why some teams do that. Like, honestly, rip off the Broncos logo. Like, do something like that. Like, that looks very similar, and roll with it. I think their best look though is white. Again, I don't know if I'm like just a sucker for the white uniforms, or to just say like, oh, Syracuse needs the white helmet, or Texas A&M needs to keep doing the white uniforms. But I'm thinking they're the same. Quit it
I
with
mean, it
these
beats,
colors.
the giant logo still beats the pants off of when it said Boise State and then had the logo there. I think you're right. They should shrink it down. I don't like that trend of enormous. And that was your beef with the NC State one too.
Yeah,
And I get that entirely. I mean, it's an entirely too large.
way too large. Okay, so now we got some really good uniforms left, I'd say. I'd say
Yeah,
we
now I
got,
think we're in the goods. Now I
yeah.
think we're talking about goods.
Okay, we got Navy and those alternates. We got USC, Miami, and who's the other team? Or that might just be it actually. USC, Miami,
Yeah,
and
it's
Navy.
USC. Yep.
Yeah, USC, Miami, Navy. Okay, so out of that, I would say, oh man, shoot. I think USC's uniforms are so good. And also, I think Miami's been doing some stuff. I think they look good with black. I'm going to go with Navy here. I can't let the alternates go too far. But
Because you
man, they have so
still
many great ones. I don't know if that's smart.
the problem is like what's their current iteration of the Navy uniform is just they got rid of the whatever they were doing with the stripes on the front, right? Now it's just the two on the side and it's just a plain the Navy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That appears to be what it is. I mean, my goodness, they have some crazy uniforms for the Army Navy game, and then obviously they participate in some of the cool series that they might be involved in, whether they're playing Notre Dame or whoever else. So they're going to bring in a new jersey. I mean, they got better. They have better alts than USC and
USC.
Miami.
I don't think's ever featured a true alternate jersey.
Yeah. Ooh. All right, I'm taking Navy off though, just because.
Right, and I will take then Miami. I don't love. If you'd asked me 10 years ago where Miami would be on this list, it would be damn near close to the bottom. I thought that they did awful work in the mid to late 2000s and then into the teens. But in recent years, I think they've rediscovered what a Miami uniform is. And I think that they've done a really good job with their uniforms in the last few years. I think they did like a full-on redesign when in like 23. But they used to have numbers that were like comically too small, and the name on the back, looked real chintzy. But they've updated their uniforms, and I like them. I like their uniforms now. It's just the simple, solid color with the three stripes and then the three stripes on the side. But orange and green and white, that just goes together. And then when they roll the black into it, looks really sharp.
I think it's partially something like the general feeling is, okay, so like with some of these big programs that have all this tradition, you don't want to touch these jerseys. Like you don't want to mess it up. Like be very careful. And then they did a little bit of that rebrand that you were talking about in the early 2010s. And, the green is so much darker. And it's just like it plays off of some of the uniform trends at the time. And then I think they were like, oh my goodness, this looks so bad. So when they went kind of back, they still wanted to tweak it. And they realized how bad it could get, so they still played it safe. And I think they ended up making all the right decisions after the fact.
Yeah, their whites. Their whites are solid because they use the green number with the orange outline, and it looks real sharp. It looks good. They look good again.
So now we got USC at the top, a rival that may potentially be no more in a couple years, but who knows? Have they really never featured a
alternate? Nope.
Wow.
They've never touched it. It has only ever been it's only ever been what it's been. They've never had an alternate uniform. They've never messed with it. And you know what? They've earned the right to do that.
Yeah, they certainly have. I mean, shout out to them. That if you can make it all the way to the top of this rankings without having an alternate uniform, then that's pretty good on you. I actually was just completely unaware of that. I'm sure there's been plenty of fan mock-ups before. But
yeah, there was like
great.
rumors of there being a black uniform, but it never panned out. They've never done like a play on the pants. They've never done a play on any of it. They haven't inverted the colors. It's always been the yellow pants and the white or the red tops.
Always. You know what? And tell Iowa State to stop, because I just looked up some of the USC stuff just to bring my memory back. And Iowa State is gaining on them too quickly. Those uniforms look like daringly close, like just the specific colors, way too close for comfort. Because I was looking at it, I was like, oh, it looks like
sometimes there was. I think that Iowa State in the last few years has tweaked it a little bit, but I think earlier this decade and maybe like late 2010s, I mean, it was just like if you didn't see the logo on the side of the helmet, you didn't know. Yeah. And the way that the two teams were playing, it was like you couldn't tell on the field either.
All right, so let's take a look at the QB battle that's coming up. We're gonna know more in the blue and gold game, but obviously there were some rumblings of maybe a potential first or somebody that's taking a little bit of the lead. I'll let you take the lead on that and kind of setting the stage for the quarterback battle talk for today.
Yeah. So all the reports that I've read and what I've heard internally is that, like, the guy that there was the scrimmage this weekend, and the guy that far and away was the best in the scrimmage was Kenny Minchie. And the guy who performed the best or during the practices as well, it's been Kenny Minchie. I mean, it was not what anyone had really pontificated upon, had mentioned. I mean, certainly there's some people who are like, what if it is? And I think I've pondered it myself, but Kenny Minchie was not the guy that anyone thought was going to come out of this job. A lot of people just assumed it was going to be the experience versus the potential of Carr. It was like Angelic Carr. And then Minchie was just there. And all Kenny Minchie has done is showed up to work this spring. And thinking on it, is this kind of a best case scenario in what I laid out, that we as fans, and I'm sure internally there was maybe, they knew a little bit more, but they'd have to be lying to say that they weren't intrigued by CJ Carr's potential talent and then Angeli. But for a third guy to rise above, and by all accounts I've heard, Carr and Angeli both had good springs so far. So it's not like they're floundering. It's not like they're, Brandon Wimbush unable to hit the net on the sideline, or they're turning in like, and I understand Deshaun Kaiser had a wonderful season, but they're not having a Deshaun Kaiser spring. It's just Kenny Minchie's been good. And I think that adds, I don't know, what do you think? Do you feel like that adds a little bit more weight when he comes out of left field like that and it's not the guy that you expected? And for this buzz to be there, it feels like legitimately earned.
Oh yeah, well, it definitely feels legitimately earned if it is Minchie, just because like two things really. You could anoint like CJ Carr and say, well, you know what, you're the guy, the big time recruit. People have been waiting on this, and you get almost a little bit of a confirmation bias in that way. He's supposed to be good coming off an injury. We've seen him, like he's had flashes. All right, like every single thing he does maybe has more weight to it than maybe what the other guys do. And so you're letting that kind of, make the decision for you. And then when it comes to Steve Angeli, it could just be the other way around, where it's like he's paid his dues, locker room guy. Like there's no
the Miller Moss scenario.
He can't
right?
be the guy. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you just Miller Moss it. You're just like, oh yeah, it's fine. We'll just roll with the guy who Brian Kelly would have done that, right? Just roll with the guys with the experience.
But when it's Kenny Minchie, it's like, okay, well, now those two guys might transfer before fall. Well, I mean, I don't know if CJ Carr might actually transfer, but like Angeli's out of here, like, because that's way too risky for him. So it's like, well, if they make a decision like that, then Minchie must have just taken it. Like, and at that point, it has to show they were definitely going into this 3-man race. Everybody's going to get reps with the ones. Everybody's going to get a shot. And whatever happened in that scrimmage, he took the bull by the horns, man. I mean, he had a great game. You were making some of the spring references. I'm thinking a little bit like Sam Hartman's springtime, when it was just like during that game, it was like, okay, well, so when is Buckner going to enter the transfer portal? Like, because he's got to be out of here now.
Yeah, it's already a foregone conclusion. Yeah, it's not even a battle. And and not for nothing. And I don't think that you can place an incredible amount of weight on a silly scheduled media meet and greet. But Notre Dame on Thursday in Mishawaka is at a Dick's Sporting Goods, which I've been to. I've been to that Dick's. They are hosting the trophies from the playoff, the Orange Bowl and the Sugar Bowl trophies. So you can go to this Dick's Sporting Goods and see the trophies, probably get your pictures taken with the trophies. And then at 5:30 to 6:30, they're going to have some Notre Dame football players that are going to attend and that you can take pictures with, I would assume, get autographs, that kind of stuff, meet and greet with the players. And the players that they're sending 5 players to go with the trophies to the Stick Sporting Goods. And the players are Don Schuler, right? Leonard Moore. Okay. Jeremiah Love, of course. Christian Gray. I mean, that's your secondary and your best football player. And then they're also including Kenny Minchie. And I understand that there could be some class conflicts that certainly might preclude Angeli or CJ from attending this event. But I mean, they could have asked Greathouse, right? I mean, they could have brought both running backs. They could have brought Jadarian Price if they wanted to. They could have brought a big boy on the O-line. They could have brought a lot of players, but they're bringing Kenny Minchie. And I don't think that that's nothing, especially off of what I've heard and what I've also read and seen reported for the sort of spring that Minchie's had.
So, like, I'm in the same boat as you. Like, I would just immediately say, oh, my goodness, this has to be nothing in the sense of, like, oh, if I knew the class schedules of CJ Carr and Steve Angeli. But at the same time, look, I'm not trying to – Notre Dame, great university. Academics, they're there. But there's an hour on this Thursday, like, evening that these players have for this availability. And I'm sure they have classes. I'm not saying that. But – I don't know if my mind jumps immediately to, oh, well, they have classes, so that's why they wanted to bring a quarterback in. My mind does go to, okay, hearing this report, like from the other day about how well he's playing, and then seeing this, I do have a little bit of confirmation bias, and I want to put 2 and 2 together because it really does feel like it was an avoidable thing. And like you said, you don't even have to bring the quarterbacks. You just bring somebody else.
You don't have to bring the quarterbacks. Yeah, you didn't have to bring Kenny Minchie. You didn't have to bring him. And why are you bringing Kenny Minchie in any event? I mean, all of these other players were extremely productive contributors on, the run to these 2 trophies that they're hosting. I mean, you're not
including Steve Angeli.
Including Steve Angeli. I'm not like we've been over. You're not beating Penn State, maybe. You're probably not beating Penn State without Steve Angeli at the end of the half. I mean, we talked about that last week. You're not beating him without Steve Angeli.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's nothing. I don't think it's everything. I don't think that it's everything, but I don't think that it's nothing.
I mean, this is something that's going to play out over the next few days. I'd imagine we're probably going to get some news. I think so. I think at least over under 1.5 quarterbacks in the transfer portal at the end of this week.
Oh boy. I think I'm taking the under because I think one of the components is Angeli has his degree, which matters to a lot of these players. When you go to Notre Dame, a big part of it is when you get that Notre Dame degree, it does matter. And so I'm not sure if it'll matter as much for CJ Carr if he has pro aspirations. And plus with Minchie, he's young enough that he is just to play away. But I think that if it is Minchie, I mean, Angeli, I cannot fathom. He wants to play, and who can blame him, right? I mean, he's got a Notre Dame degree already. So, like, why stick around? And if he does, I mean, kudos to the culture. But
absolutely, kudos to the culture. I mean, and then I have no idea what they would have possibly had to say to him, or that we wouldn't just be able to see straight up during the blue gold game him dominating. For a reason for him to just stay. So I'm going to go, if it's Minchie, I think both of them are out.
You think both
yeah.
Out?
I just think.
And then we're entering into that 2 plays away from, and you know what? I don't even think it would be 2 plays away for Buckner. I think if both of them do, I think Buckner then becomes your de facto backup quarterback going into 2025.
They can always end up getting somebody who does transfer in too after the spring game. Maybe somebody who's a little bit of a smaller name, something like that.
I mean, they probably need to.
I just think I think Minchie, just from like an outsider perspective, buys more into the whole 1 play away thing than CJ Carr does. But there will definitely be somebody out there who does buy into the 1 play away thing for a Notre Dame quarterback. Maybe he has a connection to one of the coaches, through high school, was recruited from them. Maybe, I don't know, a guy on Penn State, like depth chart. Like I have no idea, but like I feel like that guy definitely could come. But if both those guys leave, though, even though I do think it'll happen if it's Minchie, that's
because you'd be looking at
that's dangerous.
True freshman Blake Herbert is being the only scholarship on the rostered scholarship quarterback because Buckner's still a wide receiver and I think he's a walk-on still. We'll see what happens with the 105 if that drops, but Buckner. I mean, there's worse Buckner as a backup quarterback is not a terrible situation. The man started football games in the SEC. He started a football game at the Shoe. I mean, there's certainly worse scenarios that you can envision.
And the movie script that I mentioned last week is writing itself hot off the press if Buckner leads this team to any sort of big win that we have on the schedule this year. So that would just be actually like an amazing story. And
it would be
absolutely. This is that first step where it's like, oh, something's happening. Something's changing in this movie. Oh, I know where this is going. To these guys into the transfer portal. Oh, I know what's happening now. I know how the rest of this goes. So, all right. Well, let's move into the Gerby Lambert injury. Right, he tore his labrum in his shoulder. Sophomore offensive tackle.
And he didn't do it he did not do it during the scrimmage. He did it earlier in the week. We heard rumblings about this in the middle of the week last week about him hurting his shoulder and being out for the spring. And luckily it looks like he'll be back. Freeman says that he'll be back in time for the start of fall camp.
Yes, he did say that. He's expecting him to be a full go by that point. We talked last week a lot of the different kind of rotations, if you will, or different like combinations for this offensive line.
Best five, right?
Yeah, best five. That was the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
And you're losing potentially one of them in these practices. Last year, I'm looking at the snaps, 53 offensive snaps, and then a lot on the field goal unit. And in the final 3 games of the college football playoff, I believe he was on the field goal unit.
That's the gift that keeps on giving, man. Like those 3 games is a gift, right? It's phenomenal. Those extra 3 games, getting those guys those reps in there.
No, oh yeah, exactly. Like to be able to actually put him out there on the field, it was great. And this team got healthy too, like in parts, like as the season went on. Like, and I just felt like even when that happened, like opportunity was able to come. So I'm forgetting like who exactly was maybe hurt earlier in the year, but when
Charles Jagusah before the season, and then the staff was basically, they were like, we didn't expect to see him again this season, and then we made an extended playoff run, and suddenly he's playing, the national title game, and it's like, that's invaluable, and they're getting truncated springs for a lot of the guys, the amount of load that they have, but the experience, and it's high level experience too. So
I wonder if this will end up moving Jagusah back to tackle for the rest of the spring. Obviously, he was kind of at the right guard position. They were trying it out. It looked like they were really liking it. I think on the same day that Lambert ended up getting his shoulder hurt, or maybe a couple days after, whenever it was confirmed that he was getting surgery, I thought Jagusah also got a right ankle or foot thing going on. I don't know. I thought I remember seeing that, but is there any? Just what do you think? You think you could potentially move back out to the tackle spot?
I think if maybe it happened early spring, or if the reports on Lambert is that he was not going to be a full go at the start of camp, they might have kicked him back out. But I think that he got enough spring reps in. And I think that if you want to play Charles on the inside, just leave him there. Right? I mean, why kick him out to the tackle when you're just going to pull him back in, in the fall? So if you wanted to play him inside, I mean, why kick him to the outside? Because I thought about that too. I was like, I think it'd show something. Like if he comes out lined up at tackle in the spring game, then I need to reevaluate what my thoughts are with the offensive line, because it's then more in flux than I thought. I think they have generally settled on their 5. And I don't think that you would upset I think you would want to get as many reps as you can for him at guard.
Yeah, that would definitely make the most sense. And especially when you're trying to build a little bit of continuity through this time period. We mentioned the snaps and like the total amount of snaps that they're going to have whenever they go start next year. But you still kind of need them to be able to get those reps in at those specific positions, especially if you're switching guys around and you don't want to set up Jeremiah Love or any of the other running backs for disaster when you're thinking that you can make all these moves. So yeah, you don't want him to move too much, but I figured why not, worth asking. We're going to know more during the blue gold game that's coming up in a few days on the 12th, right? The 12th. I'm so bad with my dates today. But yeah, the blue gold game on the 12th. So what are you looking to see in this spring game?
I mean, the defense is going to play ultra vanilla, right? Yeah. So there's not going to be a lot of blitzes or like stunts or anything exotic in the way that they're going to call that game. I want to see something explosive in the game. I don't want it like the number one thing, is you want everybody to stay healthy. It's like when you're having a kid, the first thing every parent says is like, well, I just hope the kid's born healthy. Which yes, that is the number one. So putting aside the obvious, what do you want to see? I don't expect Jeremiah Love to play. He tweaked something in the practices. Hamstring. Yeah, leading up to the scrimmage, so he didn't actually participate in the scrimmage. So like, I don't want to see him on the field. And if they put him on the field, 1 or 2 plays, wide receiver, that would be kind of fun, because he's been doing a lot of cross training at wide receiver. But I want to see some kind of explosives. Like I want to see shots taken downfield. I want to see a more opened up playbook offensively, as far as like, ultimately, I just want to be entertained. I understand that there's, the quarterbacks. Do we know what the jersey situation is as far as the quarterbacks, as far as who's live and who's not? I would assume Angeli is going to be red, but like Minchie, for his game to work, he's going to need to be in a live uniform. Is he going to be wearing a red uniform? I haven't seen anything to the contrary.
Oh, I haven't seen anything about that just yet, but I would imagine so. And he would probably want that as well, and say like, hey, I got to go. Like if he's really got a shot, if he's really potentially number one guy, I don't see why he wouldn't wear a live uniform.
Yeah, and I would assume maybe the same with CJ Carr, but he's got the elbow thing, so I don't know if they want to play, from last year. He got the elbow thing and taking shots as a scout running the scout team. So I don't know if they want to open him up to shots too, but he's got some scoot to his game as well. So, but I would like to see Great House flash. I'd like to see some of these sophomore receivers, Saldante, Cam Williams. I'd like to see some contributions from there. And then I'm just sort of curious as far as, Marcus Freeman looks at this as the ultimate exhibition for fans. And he's been on record. We talked about it last week, as far as this being like, this is a cheap, affordable way for people to come and see the game. And this is really for the fans and whatnot. And I always think back to one of the things I did love about a blue gold game was when Brian Kelly let Big Lou Nick's Irish Chocolate on the 2-point conversion. I'd like to see some more stuff like that. I'd like them to take it seriously, but then not so seriously. I'd like them to have some fun with it. I don't think that I'm going to get any answers per se, but I'd like for it to be entertaining. I think that's what I'm looking for at most. Do you have any answers that you're looking for this game? Or?
Well, I will say, I think if keeping it more fun and having, some seriousness to it, but also having a fun 2-point conversion or something like that, where they can, like, feels like it's building the team up a little bit, is like, I think super important, because we see a lot of these spring games, like dropping like flies. So I think that's part of something that can kind of ease that and keep that at bay a little bit too, because you don't want players to all dip and stuff before the spring game or anything like that. So I just feel like that's important too. But answers, I think we're gonna see 1, 2, 3 lined up, just simply who's been the best, and I don't know how many other answers we're gonna get. Maybe we'll have more clarity on the Viper position too. Talked about that last week. I think we might have just more clarity to who's comfortable and who's more versatile than the other on the defensive end. And then we're going to know exactly, like, probably who they feel is maybe the best 5 on the offensive line. But outside of that, I don't think Jeremiah Love, like you mentioned, is going to play. And then I think we're going to line up the quarterbacks based off of how they perform in the spring. And it's going to be a pretty good indicator in this game how they've been in the last couple months. Or at least there's going to be signs where it's like, okay, maybe it was CJ Carr. Okay, he didn't really dominate, but there was a drive here where he clearly has it. Like, he clearly has something. I think we're going to at least see that. And, we're going to have different expectations for some of these guys. I think the expectation for Steve Angeli is throw that ball, show us the ceiling, show us what you can do. And then with Kenny Minchie, get out there, run, show us what's different. So I think we're going to at least know a lot more about these quarterbacks, even if, they're without Jeremiah Love, and even if they're without 2 of the transfer wide receivers.
Is there any specific player that you're interested in seeing? Because I got one guy, not maybe, outside of the receivers, but I'm kind of interested to see Carson Hobbs.
Okay. I had Jalen Sneed and then KK Smith, because I wanted to see a wide receiver outside of the main ones that we probably will have, like Faison, Greathouse, and then you got Fields and Pauling, obviously out for this spring. I think it'd be interesting for the wide receiver room. But yeah, I had Jalen Sneed, linebacker. I think he could be really interesting, just taking that next step again, transformed kind of midseason last year. And hey, is he wrecking this game? Obviously, you mentioned, the defense is going to be very vanilla, but does he have something about him this year that could be potentially different? Obviously, very up and down emotional time here at Notre Dame, but he wants to be here, and Marcus Freeman's got him. He's going to have him for another year. I'm very interested to see if he's wrecking anything in the spring.
Yeah, I like that one too. Yeah, I mean, it's tough with these, is because you set sort of an expectation for what you're going to get out of a blue gold game. And I know I've gone into previous years expecting answers and being kind of let down when, no answers come. And then, there's situations like a Junior Jabby that has an all-time game and then does nothing. And then you have Deshaun Kaiser, who could not have looked possibly worse, and then comes in against Virginia and takes Notre Dame on that run. And, 2015. So I just
I get it. Like, my expectations might be a little bit too high for the quarterbacks, but I just think when you look at the game, I just think there's going to be a part of it that's just undeniable. Like, oh my goodness, okay, well, we clearly know somebody isn't number one. So I think
that would be if somebody really flashes, that would be a best case. Because there is something to be said for, like, playing a game. There are guys that are gamers. That is absolutely a thing. When there are practice players, and then as soon as the games, they just disappear. And then there are guys who might not be very good at practicing, and then the lights turn on and they're in the game and they're in front of a stadium and they just different player. So there's definitely a component to that. So how do the QBs, like, how does Kenny Minchie look in front of it's going to be a friendly stadium, but in front of, how many people we think we're going to get? Like 30,000, 35 at best, maybe 20, 25, 35,000 people. And then also, the eyes on Peacock. So there'll be people there. So, and he's almost assuredly read everything that we've read. And he knows that he's doing this amid media availability. He knows that the spotlight's on him. And then for Angeli and Carr, I'm not sure if the blue gold game will go in anything in deciding it, because they had all spring to look at him, as well as the scrimmage and then that. but it can't hurt if you ball out. It cannot hurt. So
yeah, balling out, that's best case scenario. I mean, also, I agree. They've definitely probably seen some stuff. I mean, you have that kind of inner voice in your head that's telling you, hey, if I don't play like where I need to do or what I need to be at, like I might end up not playing meaningful, like super duper meaningful games for Notre Dame football ever. Like,
yeah,
or anymore.
or in Angeli's case, ever again.
Yeah. So it's like
Yeah.
it's like, oh, what can I do to make sure that stops? This is supposed to be the dream. This is supposed to be how it goes. Like, I think the transfer portal kind of brings a little bit of a bad rap to some of the players. Like, no doubt, get your bag, do what you need to do, go start somewhere. But there are a lot of guys you commit, you have bought in, or you've at least been bought to buy in.
And that was one of the things about the playoff run is that Notre Dame was able to keep all of those guys on the roster for the playoff run. Like Penn State lost their backup quarterback right before the playoff run. I mean, if Drew Aller gets hurt, they're playing a third string. So,
all right, let's move into recruiting here. I don't know if you got the pronunciation prior, but defensive end Ebenezer Uatati. I don't know, just taking a shot. I have no idea if that's what you had heard.
Yeah. Uatati?
Uatati? Okay. That sounds about more realistic. Well, top 50 per on 3 rankings. Number 6 edge, still kind of new to the position, but definitely big time get. We were just talking about that area in the last
I mean, it's been we've wandered in the we are Moses in the desert with defensive line prospects of the upper echelons. And I mean, this is a good start. He's a kid who's only been playing football for like a year and a half, 2 years, something at this position. And then, he's got a teammate who's a top 50 recruit on the O-line that they're also going after. So it never hurts to get that, to try and get a combo package there. This is what Notre Dame needs. They need to start stockpiling defensive ends because we like to do the rotation, and what's better than a rotation of good, right? Going from great to great, like those Dabo Clemson teams during their mini dynasty. They were just rotating in 5 stars after 5 stars.
Yeah, there's a couple things that I really like here. One, you got him over Alabama and Georgia. That's always an amazing sign.
Always amazing.
That's never a bad thing, right? Just like balling out in the spring game. So that's a positive. And then also ESPN Rivals and 247, they're all kind of on the same page here, ranking him in the top 200. On 3 kind of sees him a little bit higher here. But I think that's really positive considering he hasn't really played a ton, right? There's not
he's 152 composite on 247. But when you got an offer list that includes, Alabama, Auburn, Florida State, Georgia, Miami, Ohio State, Penn State, South Carolina, that's a lot of times with these kids is you look at the offer list and you see who's offered. And recruiting science is inexact. And sometimes you find diamonds in the rough, and sometimes the services aren't quite quick enough on it. But he's a tall, lengthy kid coming off the edge that's got offers from Alabama, Georgia, Auburn. Sign me up. Ohio State. Yeah, sign me up.
And right now the Fighting Irish are number 8 in the country. I believe they were bouncing back between number 10 and number 12 in the 2026 recruiting class rankings. So if anybody's keeping track, keeping count, this is another really good signing for 2026. Obviously, I believe a National Signing Day is like 8 months away from now.
Yeah, and there's no one above them in the rankings that have fewer signees. Everybody above them has either 8 or more. So that's a good position to be at. And the other thing too, when you look at it as well, is Notre Dame's got a pretty good average on their average recruit. So if you look at USC, right, USC is the number 1 ranked team. But depending on your service, the average, because USC's got 8 3-stars signed. They have as many 3-stars signed as Notre Dame has players overall. So I don't know. That's just something to keep an eye on.
And with the blue gold game, like this is a real opportunity moving into official visit season to get some of these guys to the campus and to be really impressed. And so when you're sitting at 8 right now, I definitely think that you should be expecting a little bit of a boost. Now, I know everybody's got their spring game. Well, actually, not everybody, but a lot of programs certainly do have a spring game thinking about a boost, or they're at least thinking that they're getting people in before the official visit time and kind of swaying them before they can go out, shutting down their recruitment, everything like that. I think if Notre Dame, sitting at 8, you might also be expecting another little push too.
Oh yeah, I mean,
obviously there's going to be plenty of dominoes to fall, but I think it's a great spot to be in right now.
No, and there's been some years that Notre Dame has done that USC route where they've rushed out ahead and been the number 1 team. I think it was was it last year's class or was it the year before's class where Notre Dame spent a lot of this time of year in the number 1 spot and then they just precariously tumbled down. But like if you get Dunham on board and which is kind of what is expected, Rodney Dunham, and then JV and Osborne, I mean, you're starting to stack guys together and you can start there. I mean, recruiting is a lot of it is momentum. And if you start stacking these signings together, then guys want to be a part of it. So it's going to be a fun summer for recruiting.
When do we think Dunham is going to make his decision? This week?
Yeah, I think I think I just read something that he made an announcement
Thursday. I think it was something Thursday. That's what
I said. He's ready to commit, and he is April 10th, so Thursday.
Oh wow! Okay,
4 p.m.
Those dates all in order. 4 p.m.
Yeah. 4 p.m.
Between
Notre Dame, Duke, Tennessee, South Carolina, and Georgia.
Uh-huh.
And obviously, South Carolina is going to have some play because the Carolinas, but Georgia's right in there as well. Tennessee's got their collectives doing well as well, but most people seem to think Notre Dame leads, which would be phenomenal. You got a couple of 6'4" edges in the span of a week. Sign me up.
Yeah,
I mean they could in the end have a depending on how much old Ebenezer rises up, with a good senior year, they could have a defensive line class that rivals that 2011 class.
Ooh. This defensive line class, and that's exactly what we're talking about, is getting the higher end almost on that defensive line. Like just feeling like some people question the depth. I said I kind of like the depth, but it was getting the higher ceiling, the highest possible ceiling that you can with this defensive line. Feels like it's the offensive line that is always taking the cake for Notre Dame, but that defensive line is there's room there, but like we're seeing a little bit of growth here.
Yeah, and a big part of it too is the ultimate goal is to be able to rush for and get pressure, and that's what these kind of guys. And it's not to disparage anyone who's come through these gates, but you need to be able to have a game changer, a game wrecker on the edge. That's the way that football is set up now, is you need to have a game wrecker on the edge. And Notre Dame really has not had a true game wrecker on the edge in like a decade plus. So start stacking them, because you got to stack them because you don't know if any of them are going to pan out. So you gotta stack guys on guys. Yep. And this is a great start to it. And let's hope those vibes continue on Thursday.
Mm-hmm. Well, the next time we talk, it's going to be post spring game. Is there anything that you think we may have left at the table here?
As far as Notre Dame talk goes, I don't think so. At least football. I don't think we have any. I'm just excited for this game, and I'm excited to get. I'm excited to see Notre Dame play Notre Dame. That's it's always a good time, and it's always a good time to be able to get football in the spring. My Tigers are doing phenomenal. Just looking to sweep the Yankees tomorrow. So I get some of that, but as much as I love baseball and as much as I love other sports, there's nothing quite like football. And football in the spring, even though it's not real, it's still football.
I'm ready to hit the fast forward button though too. Like after this game, I'm ready for the season. I'm ready for fall camp. I'm ready to get.
You're
close.
ready to do the Adam Sandler click, huh? You got that remote. Christopher Walken get you. You went to the Beyond in the Bed Bath and Beyond and got that remote from Christopher Walken, huh?
Oh man, click. I haven't seen that movie in a long time. It has been too long since I saw that movie.
It's got a wild Jonah Hill in it. You're like, Jonah Hill? What? Jonah Hill was it? It's like, yeah, because he played his son in that movie.
He had like a lot of different cameo roles in those like mid 2000s movies too. He was also, I thought, forget what other movie he was in. I thought he was in 40-Year-Old Virgin too, as like a.
Yeah, he was in there as kind of the creeper that bought like the boots at their eBay store.
Yeah. Yeah, he was in a lot of those different films. It's kind of like the extra, kind of working his way up a little bit there. He was close with everybody, so I guess that was part of the reason why. But
yeah,
I guess we've kind of covered everything for today's show here, with the spring game and everything like that. We're gonna maybe we'll have more answers, maybe we won't, but we'll definitely be back next Tuesday talking about this blue gold game. It's been a fun one. Well,
if you do anything in the interim between now and then, I just recommend if you need something for your I gave a book last week. If you need something auditory, best album in the last 2 years. Can't every chance I get. There's a band called Ripe. They have an album called Bright Blues. Came out in 2023. Listen to the album Bright Blues by Ripe. There's a song if you have to just listen to one. The song Settling. After you hear this, just listen to the song Settling by the band Ripe. And then let me know. Let me know if that doesn't tickle your fancy, because it is phenomenal.
That's pretty good. Yeah. The what was the book that you recommended last week?
Dungeon Crawler Carl. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Good. Because I have to remember to tap in. I've been watching a lot of How I Met Your Mother lately. So if you also have something in the interim, rewatch that show, but don't get too far into it because it has a ending that's less than.
We'll make diminishing returns. Yeah.
But it happens.
Landing.
Plenty of shows in that bin.
A lot of shows in that.
Yeah, and that's okay. But I'm Patrick. That's Brendan. It's been the voice of college football on Notre Dame. See you guys next Tuesday.